everybody, my name is V. Narendra Kumar and we are from NRK Academy, and today we have got this wonderful playlist called The Life and Genius of Ayn Rand. And today we have the second in our series, and it's called Objectivism, the Philosophy of Ayn Rand for Everyone. Ayn Rand formulated a philosophy that she called Objectivism, and by the nature of that term, she discovered and put that whole in a form that I can say at the very outset is true. It's true, I'm saying that. Now this itself could bug somebody. You would think, who is she to tell and declare that this is the final truth? And here the interesting thing is that her philosophy by its nature answers this question too. So let us begin at the beginning. We live in a world, and she said, and affirmed this world's existence. We live in a world, and she said, and affirmed this world's existence. So she said this world is existing. So many people who are beginners of philosophy will wonder, of course this world exists. What is this silly thing? But that is a question of philosophy. Because if this world exists, then no other world exists. This might seem silly to many. The world exists, what is there to affirm in that? And that is a point she really made. Yes, this world exists, and only this world, because if you posit another world, so-called beyond this world, you will have to go into the void. Inside your mind only. You will go into the void. You can't go into another world. Even to deny this word existence. This existence means inner, outer, what you're looking around, what you're looking within. Inner, outer, total. The whole existence, the existence. There is no nothing, right? There is something. You, me, the whole universe. You would go into a void. So this world is all there is. And we are specific entities with a consciousness that has a sensory apparatus. You can see with the senses. That can see, hear, taste, smell and touch. But we also have a wondrous and specific ability to form words, or as we all know, she called concepts. For example, you see a table and you see another table and another, and you have an ability here to arrive at the word, T-A-B-L-E, table. The word T-A-B-L-E, this is a question of philosophy. The word T-A-B-L-E refers to any and every table, otherwise the word concept would be meaningless. That is all she said, and anyone who can speak cannot really disagree on such an elementary thing, right? So we have a whole language, and of course a grammar that covers all situations. We know how to form sentences, we know how to think in our mind with that language, and we also know how to share it and communicate with others. Then what is knowledge? Here I think she made I personally believe she made a unique, almost a new kind of contribution. Most of us think of reason and logic as piecemeal, like this, like detective, like this is true, cut off from reality. Most of us think of reason and logic as cut off from reality, and that is why many philosophers say reason and logic itself are invalid, because they didn't define reason and logic properly. So she looked at logic and reason very profoundly as an interconnected, integrated grasp of the world at every stage of life, at every step. Even a child at 10, he has a whole understanding of the world, and if he has to prove his point within his context, he can do it. This is not as simple as it looks. There are some issues here. What she said was that knowledge at any time is a sum, even for a child, and you can claim it as valid knowledge only if one part of the seeming whole does not contradict any other part, right? Thus she defined logic as a non-contradictory identification of the whole sum of knowledge that you're holding at present. When I say whole sum, I mean your whole context of what you know about the world. The key word here is the full context of your knowledge at present. You have to ask, is it a correct whole? So if one part does not contradict another part in that context, then yes, you're right. So that is the logic. So errors are allowed for some time, right? For the person to go through a process of thinking, learning, observing facts, integrating, coming to conclusions and relating it, and to arrive at this whole. So it was in this way that she defined that all science is both absolute as of now, right? As of now in the present, and contextual. So the word context is very important in Ayn Rand's philosophy. You don't take it out of the context of a person. Like we say, we look at a person, we know the whole context from which he is speaking. I would even go ahead and say that his whole psychological context also, his philosophical, psychological, what he knows is the whole person, the whole thing, his whole brain, as we can say, Then in ethics, she looked at man. What does he need to live well? But then to live well is the context for a morality in the first place. So morality cannot be rules. We have a conscience. What is that conscience? She tried to tap into that. If what you're doing benefits you, it is good. If it harms you, it is bad. She made it so simple. Thus the ideal is a practical. But do you need to live for others? No, she said, because by nature, each man is literally alone. You're born independent. You can derive values from another human being. You can give values and take values. But you cannot literally live for another human being outside yourself. And I think this resonates with our experiences as human beings. So obviously, this whole so-called objectivism certainly seems simple, right? But this was such a great integrated understanding that it is at once simple, almost silly, and at once profound. That it's like an ending, according to me, of the issues, burning issues of philosophy coming to an end. The game is up, kind of thing. So each person incredibly should live for himself, not sacrifice himself for others or others to himself. So we got the existence, we got the knowledge, we got the ethics now. So morality of living for others, she rejected as beyond. Morality of living for others, she rejected as beyond any context of anything. You understand? There is no context, there is no reality, there is no meaning, literally, of living for another human being, totally denying yourself. See, she took it plain. She took it literally, actually. She defined living for others not as a wrong morality, but as no morality. How do people live together? Next question. They should preserve the individual, right? Your life. And here the concept of rights comes in naturally. So each person lives with the right to his life, a right to his property, freedom to work, produce, and hold property. That system is laissez-faire capitalism, or full capitalism. This is the whole shield. So simple. Existence, knowledge, there is reason, then rational selfishness, rationality, rights. This is the whole she gave. And if you notice, this whole is dependent of fundamentally on the acceptance of reality as perceived by our senses. And the deep way she defined reason. Reality, holistic reason. Living for yourself, having rights. I don't know, it seems very simple to me. Of course, people debate these issues, and to my mind, they debate because they do not think in fundamentals. I have met many people who do not get her philosophy because they don't get her philosophy fundamentally. For example, the silliest debate among two camps of objectivists is whether this philosophy is closed or open. Now, when they debate, they do not even define. I have noticed people, they never define that term. They say capitalism, but they never say what is capitalism. They say selfishness. They say Ayn Rand said about selfishness, and how can we be selfish? Anybody can give any meaning to selfishness, but she didn't say selfishness. She said rational selfishness or self-interest. So when you're talking about Ayn Rand, whether you agree or disagree, I think the minimum thing we must do is to exactly know what we are talking about and whether we are talking about Ayn Rand as she really explained it or not. This is the small problem I see, but small problems become big problems. This is the misunderstanding or miscommunication of the actual truth of Ayn Rand's philosophy. Now, that is why one of the reasons why we are making this video, because I believe she has a great power to transform you. And NRK Academy is all about transforming people. Now, when they debate, they do not define what is the word closed or open. Again, they follow the non-fundamental approach. Truth is closed if by closed you mean it is true. If something is true, existence is closed. Existence exists, and everything has an identity, and there is a reason by which we can know existence. This is Ayn Rand's philosophy. It is closed, it is true. Again, existence exists. It is, so it is closed. Reason in the way I explained above is the way we use knowledge, isn't it? If it is true, it is true. So it is closed. In ethics, we have silly debates that Rand was against charity and helping others. This is the biggest joke because Ayn Rand had transformed millions of people. And they say that she did nothing and she was against charity. She was against charity by denying your life. Nobody does any charity. Each person stands on his feet. So Ayn Rand's philosophy is a very hard, strong philosophy. You have to stand on your own feet. You have to use your mind. You have to fight for your life. You have to create your own values. You have to earn your values. You have to earn money. You have very much for money if it is earned by your effort. All these values are actually implicitly, we follow it within. What I love about Ayn Rand's philosophy, so-called, should not even call Ayn Rand's philosophy. I should say the truth she discovered about how we should live our life. We don't say Newton's laws are not Newton's, right? They're true. This is a truth in philosophy. She completed. In ethics, we have silly debates that Rand was against charity and helping others. Was she? But the philosophy explained above, she said, you are the end to which the value should be directed. So you can love, a man can love a woman because he loves her. And there's a great statement in Fountainhead, her novel, which says, to say I love you, you have to first learn to say the I. And there's a kind of liberation. Every human in the world, to me, is a kind of, I look at it like, there's an objective because he has to live, otherwise he'll die. But it is precisely being non-absolute about it that creates problems of each individual. I believe this is the truth, simple truth. See, you accept reality in a certain situation. In another situation, you go into fantasies, make-believe, illusions. You are part rational only. You are a part objectivist or being objective. That does not work, isn't it? And it hasn't worked for us. If you look back in your life, all the times when you are irrational, when you are not thinking, if your conclusions are not based on reality, if you are not getting even the principles of how to live, you have always faced defeat. And you have always known it inside. So Ayn Rand's philosophy appeals to the deep hero in us, the deep rational thinker in us, which is why she transforms people, really. It's not because of her also, though she was a profoundly genius of a writer in her novels, not just her novels, the truth that she expressed in her novels and in her non-fiction writing. So Ayn Rand gave me certainty. I hope you also got that certainty, simplicity and depth all at once. And what else is needed? What else is needed for being peaceful, for serenity? And yes, a deep happiness floods you. And that is Ayn Rand's philosophy as a reward. So if you're consistently rational, if you go out now and explore Ayn Rand's philosophy properly with your own questioning, reason, rationality, trust me, you'll be a very happy person. So we'll go to the next topic I'll talk a little about Ayn Rand's epistemology. Epistemology means what is knowledge. So I'll apply it a little bit in a personal sense of how you can gain knowledge perfectly. I'm an educator, so we are educators here, so we'll be using Ayn Rand's epistemology in a particular way, and that we'll do in the next video. Thank you so much.